Tonight on Sports Desk, Canes Hoops is flying high, and our Hurricane Hangtime crew is here to analyze their play on the hardwood.
Plus, one Olympic diver is using the waters as a platform for overcoming adversity.
And we go in the trenches to preview the backyard battle at Marlins Park between Miami and FIU.
All that and more.
Sports Desk starts
right now.
I'm Ed Reed, and you're watching Sports Desk.
Hi, I'm Jim Kelly, former guy. You're watching Sports Desk.
What's up? I'm DJ Williams, and y'all watching Sports Desk.
Hello and welcome to the final Sports Desk of the semester. I'm Josh White.
And I'm Charlotte Payne. Josh, Hurricane Sports has found their winning ways in November. What else could a Canes fan ask for?
The men's basketball team tallied 4 straight wins but suffered a setback this afternoon at the Charleston Classic.
They did fall short, but the women's team won in a nail-biter earlier today.
Both teams will be on the road for the rest of the weekend, and our Hurricane Hangtime team has the answers on how the squads have fared in the early going this season. Guys?
Welcome to Hurricane Hangtime. I'm your host, Madison McKesson. I'm here with our 2 analysts, Evan Siegel and Ellie Perigo. Miami men's basketball had 2 wins this past week. The first a blowout win over Quinnipiac this past Saturday, and the second a nail-biter over Missouri State this past Thursday. Evan, what were the keys to these games for the Canes?
Madison, against Quinnipiac, it was very simple. It was just a dazzling display by the Miami offense. 80 points. They got contributions from the entire rotation. It seemed that just about any button that Jim Larrañaga and his staff pushed worked like a charm. And the defensive intensity was there throughout the game. The veterans stepped up. The young guys got some run towards the end of the game. That was huge. But against Missouri State, obviously a much more hotly contested game, 78-74. But Miami got huge contributions from Cameron McGusty, and then, of course, DJ Vasiljevic led the way with 25 points. As he has done all season long, veteran contributions on the offensive and defensive end, putting in some rebounding work as well. So those were 2 huge wins for Miami to get themselves acclimated in the ACC standings.
Now, after those 2 wins, Miami was blown out by Florida today. What happened to the Canes?
Well, I think for one thing, the defensive intensity simply wasn't there, going 5 of 11. Again, under 50% from the free throw line certainly didn't help matters. The 3-point shot that was there against Quinnipiac deserted them in this game. But I think when they got so demoralized by getting hit in the mouth as they were by the Gators early in the game, the defensive focus completely lapsed throughout the rest of the day, and the offense couldn't pick up the pace. It's a little discouraging to see a Miami team get this, annihilated by an in-state rival, for lack of a better word. So it's going to be, a slice of humble pie for Miami, and they have to use it to their advantage and make adjustments going forward.
Certainly expecting to see men's team improve. Now, Miami women's basketball team defeated IUPUI this past Sunday. Ellie, what stood out to you with that game?
Well, it was a 9-point victory for the Canes, and then India Banks had herself a day. She scored 23 points, a career high for her. And then in the fourth quarter, Micaiah Gray just came out with 16 points. It was a great game for her. And then again, Beatrice Montpremier had her second double-double of the season on Sunday.
Wow, Beatrice has been playing insanely well this year, and the Canes had a huge comeback win today against North Carolina A&T. How did Miami pull that off?
Well, it was a really tight game up until the end. With 30 seconds left, Miami was actually losing, and then Micaiah Gray shot a game-winning 3, and that put the Canes up. But the Canes really need to work on is their free throws. They didn't have a good free throw percentage, and that really hurt them throughout the game, and that's why it was so close, I think.
Definitely. Hopefully they can keep their win streak going. That's all the time we have with Hurricane Hangtime. Our reporter William Arsenault had the chance to catch up with Kenza Salga to talk to her about her transition from France to the U.S.
Freshman year is never easy, especially when you come from a country nearly 5,000 miles away. Kenza has been sidelined the past year due to an injury and has wasted no time getting back on the court and finding her rhythm here at the U.
She's a player that makes teams stretch their defense by the way she shoots the ball. She's a young lady who hasn't played, in a while, so just getting her rhythm back and her timing is a big key for her. But her impact as far as how she shoots the ball and her leadership playing point for her national team is a big plus for us.
Other than switching languages on the court, she's also had to switch her style of play.
The American way is much more physical. In Europe, I think I'm gonna say we're smarter.
The transition to South Beach has been made much smoother, thanks to the comfort and guidance from her teammates and even her coaches.
First, Coach Mayer. Coach Mayer. I talk to her every day. Micaiah talk a lot with me. I think she's talking more with me than with the other girl. 5 freshmen, we like a family. That's crazy. Like in a dorm or off the court, we always together, and yeah, we have a really good relation together. I love them.
Despite the international barriers of being a foreign student, Kenza has found one language in common with her teammates, and that's the love for basketball. William Arsenault, UMTV.
From London to Rio to the U.S., one UM diver strives to win wherever she goes, and there's one person who keeps her going. This week I sat down with Alicia Blog to talk about her incredible journey. For Alicia Blog, diving came naturally at a young age, and her drive to succeed secured her 2 Olympic appearances.
I remember stepping out on the board and seeing thousands of people in the crowd. That was the most nerve-wracking time of my life. Just you get one shot and that's it kind of thing.
She moved across the world in search of that one shot and suffered from 2 wrist surgeries and a torn labrum along the way.
Just the years of wear and tear of swinging your arms over your head and entering the water have taken their toll.
But she has not let those setbacks stop her.
Now you see her at practice, and you can tell she's in pain, you can tell she's struggling, but she's still doing it. And she's not just there, going through the motions, she's doing it well.
But no injury could prepare Alicia for what was about to happen.
He'd been sick for a while, and we obviously knew something wasn't right. And it was during Irma I got that text from my mum that your dad's got leukemia. It never prepares you, and it was just such a, you never think it's going to happen to you, you know.
In 2017, Alicia's father was diagnosed with leukemia, and this left her with a lot of questions.
Why is this happening? I don't understand, but then one day I kind of just woke up and I was something clicked, and it was just these things are happening for a reason.
And that reason has turned into her motivation.
I think all the adversity she has had we've turned into a positive.
Alicia's father is awaiting his final scan to find out if he is officially cancer-free.
I embrace the ups and downs. I'm thankful to be here. I'm thankful from what I've gone through and the person I am today.
Alicia Blog has a very positive outlook on life after all that she's experienced, and she'll be bringing that positivity to the IUPUI House of Champions invite in Indianapolis this weekend. The Canes are hoping to dive into victory and bring some more wins to Miami.
Coming up on Sports Desk, it may not be the Orange Bowl anymore, but the nostalgia of UM's old stomping grounds is still there. We gear up for the Canes' return to familiar territory after this.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made this vacation happen.
Double points with every purchase?
Cleverly merging promotions.
I love it.
Cross-referencing travel sites. And booking all your flights with those...
vouchers. I got us bumped.
They were like, oh. But now they're like... Aloha. You aced this vacation. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Hurricane sophomore standout Brevin Jordan has been named a semifinalist for the 2019 John Mackey Award. Jordan is one of 8 semifinalists for the recognition that honors the nation's top tight end. Jordan leads the Hurricanes with nearly 500 receiving yards on 35 catches to go along with 2 touchdowns. The All-ACC second-team selection from a year ago missed the Canes' last game against Louisville due to a left foot injury. Jordan is a game-time decision for Saturday's contest against FIU at Marlins Park.
Senior linebacker Shaq Quarterman has already left his mark on Hurricanes football program. But on Saturday, Quarterman will lace up his cleats for the 50th straight time as a Miami Hurricane. Quarterman has started every game since arriving on campus at the U and will tie the program record for consecutive starts currently held by defensive tackle William Joseph. Quarterman has more than 300 tackles and 13 sacks in his illustrious UM career. And when Miami takes the field against Duke next week, Quarterman will stand alone in the record books as the all-time leader.
Hurricanes football is 0-2 coming off a bye week this season with losses to North Carolina and Georgia Tech. But can the Canes rewrite their fate and extend their current winning streak to 4? Our In the Trenches crew breaks down what to expect against crosstown foe FIU at Marlins Park. Guys?
How's it going, everyone? I'm Simon Lair. This is Tommy Sullivan, and we have In the Trenches for you. Tommy, the Canes are coming off a bye week, but before that bye week, they look pretty good. They're coming off 3 straight wins, 2 quality wins, 1 against Florida State and 1 against Louisville at homecoming. What can they build off when they're playing FIU on Saturday?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be important for Miami to continue with that positive momentum that they had going into the bye week. As mentioned before, Miami is 0-2 coming off of bye weeks earlier in the season, so it's going to be good that they break that trend and really just need their superstars to continue doing the things that they've been doing all season long. That starts with Jaron Williams at the quarterback position, coming off that 6-touchdown game against Louisville. See, it's going to be really important if he can continue things. Brevin Jordan, game time decision, would be great to get him back. He is an elite talent. And then finally on the defense, you have Greg Rousseau. He's just been an absolute beast this year at the defensive end position. But another beast on defense has been Shaq Quarterman, who's making his 50th career start for Miami, and he's just been an absolute monster all season, especially these past 3 games. Against Pittsburgh, 12 tackles. FSU, 9 tackles with 3.5 tackles for loss. Louisville, 6 tackles, 4 tackles for loss. It's going to be really important that he continues to play at this elite level right now.
That's for sure, Tommy. Going back to the offense for a second, it seems like Jaron Williams and DJ Dallas have been carrying most of the load, and FIU is very good against one part of the offensive game, not so good against the other. What can we expect to see against FIU?
Yeah, FIU has a very poor run defense. It's going to be really important for DJ Dallas to get out there and really start gashing them early. FIU with the worst run defense in the Conference USA, so going to be good to see DJ Dallas get out there, maybe some Cameron Harris runs. But on the flip side of that, FIU has an extremely talented secondary, one of the top secondaries in the entire country. So it's going to be very important to see how Manny Diaz and co. game plan to go into this game against FIU offensively throwing the ball. Another big key is going to be Miami just needs to be smart. FIU is an inferior team talent-wise to Miami, and it's going to be important that they don't get caught up with the rivalry. They have a bunch of guys who probably played with each other in high school or at least against each other. So it's going to be really important that they just stay the course and get the win. Thanks
a lot, Tommy. Technically, Miami is actually the away team this weekend against FIU up at Marlins Park. And, that's the side of the old Orange Bowl. There's a lot of history there for UM. And I actually got a chance to go inside the stadium and take a look at what we can expect to see this Saturday against FIU at Marlins Park.
This weekend, the Miami Hurricanes return to the site of the old Orange Bowl, squaring off against FIU at Marlins Park. The baseball stadium should create quite a unique atmosphere for the Hurricanes.
We're looking at playing open roof, open wall, so people will get a really nice perspective of the skyline. And we're talking 37,000 seats. The energy and the closeness to the field, down the first baseline, even if you're in the upper deck on the Vista level, you're going to feel that energy from what's taking place on the field. So I think this will be as loud a crowd as we've had.
Earlier this week, Coach Manny Diaz gave his thoughts on UM's deep history in Little Havana.
I think it's going to provide a very exciting atmosphere. I think just the nature of the stands and there is still an overhang, and it's going to keep the noise in. It's going to be, that stadium doesn't get full all too often, and I think it'd be great to see everybody in there, and the weird sight lines getting kind of strange, football field on a baseball field. Wherever we show up in Miami, it's going to be a great place, and we think we've got a great stadium in Hard Rock. We love being there. It's just fun to have a weekend of memories back in Little Havana.
A lot of them are really excited about coming back and playing a game here, and with all the historical significance behind it, the proximity and the fact that people can still purchase tickets for Saturday's game. The atmosphere, the energy inside the facility will be second to none.
The game kicks off this Saturday evening at 7 o'clock as Miami looks to keep fighting and lock down the Hurricanes' 4th straight win. For UMTV, I'm Simon Lair.
The Canes may be facing FIU this weekend, but Miami already played rival Florida earlier this season. And while the Gators defeated the Hurricanes, one former UF star and NFL Pro Bowler stopped by the studio to sit down with Caroline McDonald in this week's edition of Athlete of the Week.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to this week's segment of Athlete of the Week. Today I have 13-year NFL running back Fred Taylor. So Fred, I know you're a Gator, but I do have to commend you on your amazing career, more than 10,000 rushing yards, and you retired as a Jaguar. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your experience with the Jaguars and why it meant so much for you to retire with them.
Yeah, I was drafted out of University of Florida, 9th pick by the Jaguars. Played there for 11 years, so naturally it was a no-brainer to give back to the community that gave me so much support as a player.
So, and now that you are retired, what do you find passion in? What have you been up to? I heard there's some cool events going on today revolving around the Super Bowl.
Yes, so I serve as an ambassador for the NFL. As you can see my shirt here, NFL Community NFL Legend. So we're here today to talk about the Super Bowl the Super Bowl experience, an event that will take place 6 days leading up to the Super Bowl. And really it's just an experience where fans can come out, interact, have interactive games, participate in different things such as running the 40, throwing passes through targets like their NFL quarterbacks. They can take pictures with the Vince Lombardi Trophy. The 53 NFL rings will be on display. They can take a lot of selfies, things of that nature, and really just to talk about that experience itself, which would be a great deal for them.
And what exactly is your part in this? How are you promoting this?
Well, just coming out, speaking about it, letting the fans know that this is a free event for children under 12, and just come out to have a great time. And they can buy tickets at NFL.com/Super Bowl experience. And show up, man, have a good time.
Awesome.
We're in Miami.
You have me on board. Thank you so much for coming. That was this week's segment of Athlete of the Week. Back to you guys.
Up next on Sports Desk, Hurricanes fans are given orange and green gear since before they can walk. And one Cane store has been providing some of UM's most popular apparel for more than half a century. Find out where after the break. But first, it's time for some trivia. The Hurricanes returning to the site of the Orange Bowl had us thinking, when was the last time UM played at the historic Orange Bowl? Is it A, 2002, B, 2005, C, 2007, or is it D, 2009? Find out the answer after the break.
The next 30 seconds can save you a lot of money. Just do your laundry in cold and stick to full loads. Auto-sleep your computers. Plug your gadgets in a power strip and switch it off when you're done. Headed out? Turn back your thermostat by 10 degrees. And drive sensibly. The more energy you save, the more money you save. Find other great tips at energysaver.gov.
Guys, have you heard the tea?
What's the tea?
You haven't heard the tea?
What is it? What is it?
Seriously.
What's the tea?
Lipton. You haven't heard the tea?
That's hard.
We're leaving.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
Welcome back. If you guessed C, you are correct. The Miami Hurricanes closed their 71-year run at the Orange Bowl in 2007. The Hurricanes played 468 games at the OB and claimed 3 of their 5 national championships on their home turf.
Do you want a turnover chain? Or how about some UM gear? Well, one store has been supplying Hurricanes apparels for decades. All Canes is celebrating its 60th anniversary, and our reporter, Lauren Yellner, tells us how the shop has developed into a go-to spot for all things Miami.
No matter where you go around Miami, it's not hard to find someone repping the U.
For locals, All Canes has been the place to get the coolest gear for the past 60 years.
We've been around 60 years. Not many companies can say that, especially in South Florida. And we try to give the best customer service, and we give a great selection, and we have the Hurricanes to help support us.
Everyone knows that being a fan of Miami is more than the orange and green. It's about the community and the pride of being a Hurricane.
School spirit is just genuinely really important, I think. I think it brings a whole community together, and it's something that everyone can bond over.
Customers that have been here for 30 years. I've seen kids that grew up here. They came in, and now they're bringing their kids in here. There were people that were here before I was here that are coming back with their kids or grandkids or great-grandkids. So we have a true tradition.
Miami has gone through major changes in recent years, but school spirit travels through generations.
Well, Miami's a very eclectic city, and one of the things that anchors everybody together are their sports teams, and UM has always been our team, but it's always the U. It always will be.
No matter what, students and alumni haven't seemed to lose any sense of UM pride.
I want my kids to go here, and I want to come back for Alumni Weekend like I see so many people do, and know that I'm proud to be a Miami Hurricane.
Loyal customers and staff of All Canes will be celebrating this milestone with a party, but they hope to continue the All Canes family for many more years to come.
People are going to shop where they feel comfortable or where it's convenient for them. We're pretty happy to be here for 60 years and hope for another 60.
For UMTV, I'm Lauren Yelner.
Men's basketball picked up their second loss of the season today against Florida. But who on the team is ready to step up and be the leader of this year's squad with a tough ACC schedule on tap? Our head-to-head crew debates who has what it takes. Guys?
Hello and welcome to this edition of Head to Head, where we get heated on the hottest topics in the world of sports. I'm Marcello Corelli alongside Brendan Riley, and today we're talking Canes basketball. So Brendan, my first question is, who do you think is really going to carry the Hurricanes in the rest of this basketball season?
I think, Marcello, it has to be the point guard Chris Sykes. He was a leading scorer last year, and he's come back. Now he's third on the team in scoring, but you saw it today against Florida. He had 16 points, a team high. I mean, against good teams, he scored double digits against Louisville in the first game of the season. Well, against good teams, against teams that have been in the top 25 or are in the top 25, he's going to be the main factor and the main scorer for this Canes team.
Well, I think also DJ Vasiljevic has done a really good job, and we'll ignore the Florida game for now. The three halves leading up to that game, he had at least 12 points. And he had 25 against Missouri State. I mean, they're not the greatest team, but
it's Missouri State. I mean, against a Florida, you're going to need to be able to score.
But he was also sixth in the ACC last year for three-point scoring percentage. So with that being said, we're going to have to move on to the next question, which is, how do you think Miami's going to fare against these tough ACC competitors coming up?
I'm not sure how well they're going to do. I think the problem is in the middle. You have Rodney Miller and Sam Wardenberg, and against good teams, they've struggled. Rodney Miller today had 4 points against Florida, against Kerry Blackshear, who dominated him. And we saw in game one against Louisville, Jordan Ward, someone that's up for National Player of the Year, he dominated as well. So the height and the depth in the middle is the main problem.
But if we think full picture and we think on defense, I think Miami has done a really solid job, especially on the turnovers. They have a lot less turnovers than their opponents. And they're also doing a great job on the stealing end. They're stealing a lot more. And even the field goal percentage is pretty good. So if they get that up against the teams like UNC and Duke and Louisville again, I mean, they didn't play that terribly at the end. So with that being said, that's going to do it for this edition of Head to Head. Back to you guys.
Still ahead on Sports Desk, one AFC North brawl has sparked controversy throughout the NFL. But who is truly in the wrong, Myles Garrett or Mason Rudolph? Our reporter Kylie Wang gives us her answer after this.
There. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy. What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop. Why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Can I tell you another one? So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it.
What's Beethoven's favorite fruit? Banana.
What is a boxer's favorite drink? Fruit punch.
The clash of two AFC foes has created a whirlwind of drama throughout the NFL. While suspensions have been dished out, many football fans still aren't satisfied with the NFL's ultimate decision. Our very own Kylie Wang tells us how she feels in her final Kylie's Catch of the semester.
By now, everyone's heard of the all-out brawl that ensued during last week's NFL matchup between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns. If you haven't, you're probably living under a rock. The big headline was all about Browns defensive end Myles Garrett, who purposely struck Steelers quarterback Mason Rudolph in the head with his own helmet, a blow that could have cost him a lot more than a concussion. Other players were involved, and the league has doled out a number of fines and suspensions. Garrett, once a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year, won't see action for the rest of the season, even if the Browns make the playoffs. His suspension has no fixed end date, so he could be sitting on the sidelines next season too. If Rudolph wanted, Garrett could probably be prosecuted for assault as well, but it looks like that's not going to happen. Pittsburgh center Marquise Pouncey stepped in and threw a few punches himself after Garrett went on his helmet-swinging rampage, and he's been suspended 2 games. A Browns defensive tackle has also been suspended for a game for pushing Rudolph down, and both organizations were fined $250,000 for their players' actions. But here's the catch. Myles Garrett quite obviously did something wrong. No one is doubting that. But his act of violence is overshadowing the fact that Mason Rudolph shares a whole lot of blame too. Rudolph was the one who initiated the fight by trying to rip Garrett's helmet off and hitting him repeatedly in an area we'll just say is below the belt. But now Rudolph's playing the victim, calling Garrett a bully and making himself out to be nothing but an innocent bystander. And that's simply not the case. Rudolph was fined $35,000, but he will continue to play. Garrett has recently alleged that Rudolph called him a racial slur, which is what sparked his rage, but that has not been corroborated by anyone else. Although this is not the first time that Rudolph's character has been called into question. Regardless, Rudolph should be suspended for starting the whole thing and embarrassing his team. He does not appear to be genuinely remorseful to me, and he's lucky to be getting away with something so egregious. Furthermore, he didn't look very good in that game performance-wise. Both the league and the Steelers will be wise to take a good second look at the man they've chosen to lead such a historic franchise. And that's Kylie's Catch.
The Miami Dolphins haven't had too much to celebrate this season, but Jakeem Grant had Hard Rock Stadium jumping this past Sunday against the Buffalo Bills. Let's head up the road to Miami Gardens to see what went down. Dolphins down 23-7 with less than 90 seconds before the half, but here comes lightning in a bottle. Jakeem Grant, the Dolphins special team ace, fields the ball inside the end zone and bolts past the entire Buffalo Bills team. Stephen Hauschka, the kicker, whoop, there go his ankles. Broken just like the Buffalo Bills' chances of stopping Grant as he wins the foot race for the 101-yard kick return touchdown. Another look, Hauschka's ankles goodbye. Hits the nitrox button for the TD, but the Bills would have the last laugh as they defeated the Dolphins 37-20, and that is your play of the day.
The New York Rangers played the Washington Capitals Wednesday night at Madison Square Garden, and while Ranger fans were delighted by the win, one fan in particular was in for a surprise he'll never forget. Take a look at this special moment when a young Rangers fan got the greatest surprise ever. Here he is right now. His father was stationed in Afghanistan for the past year and surprised him this week at home. That hug was surely a sweet one, and they didn't want to let go, but I don't blame them. You can feel the love beaming out of the television screen here. This father-son duo shared this very memorable moment with thousands of fans in New York, and that's something very special, and they're never going to forget this Rangers-Capitals game. You can really see the tears of joy in this young fan's face. It's a special hockey game for sure. Wow, what a beautiful story. Isn't it amazing how sports can just bring people together like that?
Yeah, it was such an incredible story, and it's amazing how SportsDesk brought all of us together.
I know, and I think that although it's our last show today, we should celebrate with some karaoke.
So we could sing We Are Family, but I have another song in mind.
Okay.
Turnover chain, turnover chain, turnover chain, turnover chain.
Or we could do It's Great to Be a Miami Hurricane.
We could.
You got anything else?
No, that's it.
All right, well, thank you guys for spending your Fridays here with us at SportsDesk.
Have a good winter, and we'll see you in January.